Okay, this last Sunday was an exciting one. We have been we've been moving ever more deeply into being able to talk about what's going on in our own interiors and in the conflicts that we experience in our lives, and to be able to kind of tease those apart in ways that are courageous in terms of what we're being able to share with each other. And in response to what I was experiencing, kind of my excitement about our willingness and capacity to do that, I mentioned that I was hoping that at some point we would actually be able to address the conflicts that exist between us as members of this community. And some folks were like, conflicts? I don't see any conflicts going on. So I want to be really clear that what I mean by a conflict is simply a difference that we don't like. Somebody is being different than who I would like them to be, or than I want me to be, or that I want my community to be. There's some difference that we don't like. Now, the differences may be trivial. If it's not something I care about, then it doesn't matter. I mean, the fact that you and I see it differently, so what? I don't care. But if it's something I care about, something that matters to me, something that impacts me, then or particularly if it kind of triggers some kind of old wound in me, then I'm going to be reactive to that. And so that brings the conflict to the surface. It makes it more intense. We have not had any really big recently. We have not recently had any big conflicts. But of course, any group of people is going to experience some kind of tension. So when asked, what was it? I named 3 things that I was aware of that were issues. And it was like I lit a fuse or something. So suddenly we're dealing with these conflicts that I have named. And so we are going to begin to address them this coming Sunday evening. And some of them we have a lot of emotion behind. So I want to suggest to you some kind of ground rules about how we might best be with each other in this conversation about the issues that we find ourselves conflicted around. Conflict means we see things differently that we care about. And one of the things we want to do is to be curious about how the other sees it. And one of the ways we express our curiosity is we start to ask questions. Questions, however, can be tricky. Questions can be accusations, they can be judgments, they can be an expression of a kind of emotional tone. So as much as possible, we want to be able to express our curiosity as a statement. Here is what I am curious about. Here's what I'm wondering. Here's what's going on with me. So that our questions are about disclosing ourselves, not about trying to extract something from the other. Right? So be careful about questions. Second thing is, we're not in this to advise each other or to get each other to change. And to the degree to which we experience someone else trying to get us to change, if you're trying to change me, my immediate response is a kind of clench, and I'm going to resist whatever it is that you're telling me to do. So let's not give advice. Let's talk about our experience with the issue. So it may be that, well, here's what I did. Here's what was going on with me. But we want to avoid telling each other what to do. And the third kind of ground rule here is that in the midst of this conversation, we're going to be curious about where each other is coming from. And our goal here is to be able to see how the other sees it as valid for the other. It doesn't have to be valid for me, but I want to be able to see how you see it. How do you see this thing? What is your truth? And in the midst of that, not only would it be good if we could hear the other's truth as valid for them, but also to have some sense of how it is they come to see it that way? Because we're always making choices about what it is we will validate, what is happening in my life that I am acknowledging as valid for me in some way. Why do I believe that? Why am I validating that as over and against another position, particularly when they're in the midst of talking about multiple perspectives? All right, so be careful about questions. Don't tell other people what to do. Don't give advice. And be curious about what are the sources of how it is that we are each validating our perspective. So we're going to bring our best selves to this conversation and see how well we can do with addressing these issues around which we have some conflict. Okay, hope to see you Sunday evening.